Okay, so in this video here we're going to look at the highest common factor. So we're going to look at particular algebraic expressions, and we're going to look at factorizing them. So I'm going to look at a few examples. So this is the first one I'm going to do here, 5a plus 10. And what I want to do is find two expressions that multiply to give me 5a plus 10. So what I need to do is look at this term here and this term here and see is there anything common to both of these terms. Now I can see there's an a here, but there's no a here, so a is not common to both of these terms. But I've got a 5 here and I've got a 10 here. So 5 and 10, I mean, if you double 5 you get 10, so 10 divided by 2 will give me 5. So I can take 5 here and I put in a bracket here, divide 5a by 5 will leave me a, or if you work backwards, 5 multiplied by a will give me 5a. 10 divided by 5 will give me 2. So what I've done here, you can check this by just working backwards. What you can do here is, say, take the 5, multiply it by a, that will give you 5a. Take the 5 here and multiply it by the 2, that will give you plus 10. So you end up with the same as what you started with here. So 5 times a is 5a, 5 times 2 is 10. The brackets here just mean that you multiply the 5 by everything in the bracket. So what we've done is we've taken 5a plus 10 and we factorized it. We've split it up into two expressions here, a 5 and an a plus 2, and if you multiply 5 by a plus 2 you get 5a plus 10. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. Let's say x squared minus 3x. So let's have a look at this one, x squared minus 3x. Now let's have a look at this. Is there anything that we can divide both, that will divide into x squared and 3x? Well, if we take x squared, we've got an x here, we've got an x here. We can divide x squared by x. So x squared is just x times x. We can divide x times x by x. That'll cancel and we'll just get x. Okay, so x does divide into x squared. 3 times x is just 3 times x. 3 times x. We can divide that also by x and we're just left with 3. So x will divide into 3x and x will divide into x squared. So what I can do is this, x into x squared is x times, minus, divide 3x by x and we just get 3. Now just to check that again, just to work backwards, x times x will give me x squared. X times minus 3 will give me minus 3x. That's exactly the same as what we started with, so it does work. This expression here, x times x minus 3, is exactly the same as x squared minus 3x. We've just split it up into two terms, or two expressions that you can multiply to give us x squared minus 3x. Okay, so let's look at another one. Let's look at, let's say 6p minus 12p squared q. Okay, so let's look at the numbers first of all. We've got a 6 here and a 12. So we can see that 6 will divide into 6 evenly and 6 will divide into 12 twice, so we can use 6 anyway. 6 is a factor of these two numbers here. Now we've got a p here and we have a p squared here, so we can just put a p here. P will divide into p and p will divide into p squared. We have a q here, but there's no q here, so we can't use q. Let's put a bracket here then. So what do we need to multiply 6p by to give us 6p? 1. 6p times 1 will give us 6p, or 6p divided by 6p will give us 1. Minus, now 12 divided by 6 is 2. P squared divided by p is p, and we have this q here as well. Let's just check this one. So what I want to do is multiply this by this and this by this to see, do we get what we started with? Is this expression here exactly the same as this expression here? Well, 6p times 1 is just 6p. Plus times minus is minus. 6 times 2 is 12. P times p is p squared. And we have q here as well. Q times 1, if you like, is q. So 6p minus 12p squared q. 6p minus 12p squared q. It's exactly the same as what we started with. So this here is exactly the same as this here. We've just split it up into two expressions that we can multiply to give us this. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try. Let's have a look at a squared b plus ab squared minus 3bc. Okay, so we had this time, instead of two terms, we've got 1, 2, 3 terms here in total. This term, and this term here. So we have to find something that's common to all three terms. Well, if we look at the numbers first, we have a 1 here, if you like. We have a 1 here, and we have a 3 here. So that's not going to help us really. We have an a squared here. We have an a here, but we've no a here. So a is not common to all three terms. We have a b here. We have a b squared here, and we have a b here. So okay, b is common. So what's the highest power of b that's common to these three? Well, you've got a b squared, and a b. So the highest one really is just b. b will divide into b will divide into b squared, b will divide into b. So our only common term or common variable here, if you like, in these three terms is b. So if we divide a squared b by b, the b's will cancel and we're just left with a squared. b times a squared is a squared b. If we divide this here by b, we'll get plus ab. In other words, ab squared is just a times b times b. This is ab squared. Divide that by b, that b will cancel with this b, and we're just left with ab. So this is where this ab comes from here. Now we've got a minus here, and then we want to divide 3bc by b. The b's will cancel and we're just left with 3c. So let's just check this one then, see does this work. We've factorized this expression here into b and a squared plus ab minus 3c. So let's see does it work. We need to multiply this by this term by this term, and this term by this term. So let's see does it work. b times a squared is ba squared, or just a squared b. Normally you put the letters in alphabetical order, so we'll put the a squared first. Now b times ab, b times b is b squared, so we get a b squared. Minus times plus is minus. b times 3c is 3bc. And we can see that this expression here is exactly the same as what we started with. So this is correct, this works. Okay, so we'll just try one last one. A little bit longer again. Let's say minus 20x squared y squared z plus 5x cubed plus 5x cubed y, we'll put a y in there as well, plus 10x squared y squared. Okay, so this is a little bit longer, more letters, more numbers, so let's see what we can do with this. I'll do it down here. Now if we look at the numbers first, we've got a 20, a 5 and a 10. So 5 will divide into all three of these. So I'm going to take out 5 here anyway. Now let's look at the letters individually. So we'll take x first. So we have an x squared, an x cubed and an x squared. So x squared will divide into x squared will divide into x cubed, and x squared will divide into x squared. So I can also take out x squared here. Let's look at the y's. So we've got a y squared, a y and a y squared. So the highest factor there would be just y. Y will divide into y squared, y will divide into y, and y will divide into y squared. So I'm going to put in y here. We've got a z here, we've no z here, we've no z here, so z is not an option here. So this is our highest common factor between these three terms. So let's see what happens then. We have 5 into minus 20, that's going to be minus 4. We have an x squared into x squared is just 1, so I'll leave out the 1. Y into y squared will give me y, and then we have this z here as well. Okay, so now we have a 5 into a 5 is 1, so we'll take plus 1, I'll leave out the 1. X squared into x cubed is x, y into y is 1. 5 into plus 10 is plus 2, x squared into x squared is 1, I'll leave out the 1, y into y squared is y. So that's it. Let's just check that to make sure we have everything right. So again, I'm going to multiply this by this by this one, and this by this one here, just to see if it's correct. So let's do the signs first. This is a plus, times minus is minus. 5 times 4, 20. X squared, there's no x squared here, so I'm just going to put in an x squared here. We have a y times a y, that'll give us y squared. And then we have this z here as well, so I need to put in the z here. Is this the same as our first term? Well, we have a minus 20 x squared y squared z. Minus 20 x squared y squared z. So this is the same as our first term, so that works anyway. Now let's look at our second term here. We do the signs first. Plus times this plus here will give us plus. 5 times, there's a 1 here, so that's just 5. X squared times x is x cubed. Then we have a y, and there's no y here, so we'll just put that y here. Is the second term 5x cubed y? Yes, it is 5x cubed y, so that's fine. And the last one then, plus times plus will give me plus. 5 times 2 is 10. X squared, there's no x squared, so I'm just going to put in the x squared there. Y times y is y squared. Is our last term plus 10x squared y squared? Yes, it is. So this works. If we multiply 5x squared y by this expression here, we do get what we started with. So these are two factors of this expression here.